Hi, my name is Wilman Ziada, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film, and also proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with the frontman, lyricist, and co-songwriter of the hit hard rock band 4 Trips Ahead, Peter Wilson. For more on Peter and 4 Trips Ahead, you can read more about all of them right below this video, but in the meantime, here's a sneak peek at their hit single, Remnants.
One way, complain about the day and you're broken. Careless, the scene is now set. No drive, you just won't let it happen. Frightened, the bell is now rung. They're seeing it turn in their favor. Helpless, the work is now done. Your mind's now showing vision.
Well, hello, Peter. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing so much better now that I'm speaking with you, frontman, lyricist, co-songwriter of the acclaimed hard rock band 4 Trips Ahead. Peter, I'm so excited that the audience got a little sneak peek of your band's incredible talent with your song Remnants. I want to know, how did you all come up with the concept for that song and also the lyric video?
Well, the song kind of, a lot of our best stuff kind of just happens. There's a really great chemistry between the 4 of us. And I think that leading up, and this is before even COVID hit, honestly, there was just a lot of social unrest in New York City, where New Yorkers are kind of resilient and kind of also emote and share how they feel. And so I think we were feeling a lot of that, a lot of the tension that was going on. Protests were literally happening outside of our rehearsal space some evenings. So I think a lot of that were just a lot of the questioning and what was going on in terms of the lyrics and the overall sound was just, we were trying to capture some of that, so that's why it's very dramatic and heavy and asks a lot of questions. Where did we go wrong? Where do we belong? Simple questions, but sometimes when you're in the midst of things, and you see some of the things that occurred in our country over the last 4 to 5 years in particular, it's hard to not ask those, self-effacing questions. So that's kind of how it came about. And then we were really lucky because our label had mentioned, we finished recording these tracks and we were mixing the first batch when COVID hit. So the idea of an album kind of all of a sudden seemed so distant and far away. Usually we record kind of in 2 or 3 batches and kind of pick through songs, but we felt these 5 were really great. So we went in to record, and we literally finished tracking, and weeks later, everything shut down. So we were kind of lucky in that respect. And our awesome mixer engineer person was mixing stuff, and our label kind of started pushing and saying, what are we going to do? And we said, well, we don't know. We're going to make a record, but maybe we'll just do an EP. And they suggested, someone in terms, they suggested several video directors. And we were very lucky to work with Wayne, who is just really terrific. He actually does a lot of big artists. And we sent him music and said, I hope you don't cost $1 million because we love your work. But he really connected with the lyrics in a great way. And we had serious conversations, and he just did a phenomenal job on both of our singles.
And speaking of the lyric video and the connection, it's obviously connecting with people. Over 100,000 views of Remnants on YouTube alone in just a few months. What do you think the connection with people is about, especially now?
I think that the song lyrically, and I think the dramatic production and the playing on it. It's the reason why we went into record in general right away is because we felt there was this urgency kind of going through the tracks. And in our shows when we were playing, we saw the reaction that people had to all the new songs, but Remnants really always would stick out for us. And I think that, you know, with the pandemic hitting, I think the lyrics became kind of prophetic in a way, and I think it's the timing. As you know, you can have really good art, but timing has a lot to do with it. So I think that the song is resonating in a different way. And like I said, Wayne Joyner captured what we were trying to say. And because we're in the video in terms of photo images, but we're not like performing, it kind of, in a weird way, for a lyric video, it really hit home in a different way for people. And it has a lot of heavy images. So people are really paying attention to what's being said and the music. And I think also just people are around more. So which is actually refreshing as an artist, because people are starting to pay attention a little bit more to what's being said and the emotions they feel when they're hearing music. So that's
Absolutely.
always.
Well, look I want people, if they don't know more about, if they want to know more about Four Trips Ahead, rather, I need another cup of coffee, Peter. They can read more about you and your incredible band right below this video. You all are great storytellers. You know, you're not just writing lyrics. For me, it's poetry, Peter. And I want to know for you, though, specifically, where did you grow up and when did you realize that you wanted to be a part of the music business?
Wow. So I grew up in Queens. You know, I was born in Flushing Hospital and raised in Flushing. I had both my parents were amazing folks that were, my mom was a singer. She was Ukrainian and was a singer and performed and toured and recorded with a Ukrainian Dumka choir. And they were
How
located
cool
in
is that?
Very cool.
Like, talk about take your parents to school day. Like, I want your mom.
My mom was a tough, woman who, survived a lot and came to New York and, and basically started, performed and grew up here, from her teens. But I used to go hear her sing all the time. And it was an excuse for me to get to the Lower East Side and in the Village when it was really the thing, in St. Mark's Place, because there's a whole Ukrainian community there. So she worked there, and then she would rehearse there very often. So Friday nights was a big deal. I would muster my energy as a kid riding trains I shouldn't have been riding at my age, and go record shopping and just hang out and soak in the vibes. And my dad worked, he was from Jamaica, and so I used to spend summers and any kind of break to go stay in Jamaica. So I had the sounds of what was going on in Jamaica in the 70s and 80s with reggae and dance hall. And so you had this really interesting clash of music, and music in my house, everything was played. So whether it be, the Wailers and Burning Spear to to the Beatles, to Nina Simone. So everything was everything was open to country. My dad loved Glenn Campbell, like a lot of Jamaicans love country. So it was all this cool mixture of things, and then hearing live music. And the thing was, I grew up in a time where you had to throw down live. It's cool that you had this record stuff, but the idea was that whatever you could kind of do in record, there had to be something that really resounded live. So I think that the combination of those things really got me excited, and I just felt like music was a constant. And I went to music and art, LaGuardia in the city. I was an art major then, but I used to sing with my friends and who were voice majors, and a lot of art majors became musicians, which is weird. I don't know why that happened. So it was a really special time, growing up and having that education, and it just it kept going in one into the other. And I just sort of found my way around a lot of local great bands that were playing, and growing up in the scene. And I think that what's been cool about Four Trips Ahead is that all of us kind of grew up at that time where you had to show and prove. So there's this constant cool thing where we get inspired, we try things, but everyone's really good at their craft, and they push themselves within the context of the music and writing songs, and performing is a big deal. As you know, a lot of times I don't know if this has happened to you, but it's happened to me a lot more recently, where I see artists that I hear on the radio or I hear somehow, And I get excited and I go check them out, and the performance is kind of lackluster. You know, the song is okay, the chord stuff is happening, but it doesn't really happen live. There's not a connection. And for us, it's really important because we grew up around all these artists and musicians around us that were all terrific, and knew that, hey, if I'm coming, I know if you're putting down your hard-earned money, you're going to see a show. You're going to,
dare I say it's an old school sensibility, but I totally hear you. I mean, but I think your live aspect transcends and kind of goes through the screen, even through a lyric video. I mean, I don't know. I think I have pretty good taste, not only in music, but in like performers, like true performers, and even the ones that you grew up listening to, of course, and your parents, and of course, to have this fusion of music in your life seep into your bone marrow at such a young age, on top of the fact you're dealing with other members of your band with their own musical tastes and backgrounds. I love the fact that you all have this, and I hate to say old school sensibility, but you know, I think in some ways it's a lost art form to really understand, appreciate, and dig into the power of what it is to bring what you record to the stage and not disappoint.
Yeah, because right, I always want to go see, I love bands where I'm like, wow, that band is great. And it makes you kind of subconsciously or even consciously step up your game, right? Or just make you, not so much where I want to emulate other people. I'm like the worst for covers and doing like, I always had a lot of respect for band members of mine and other people I know that could do like gigs where they were kind of paid to do cover songs. I hated doing that because I always felt like I couldn't get inside the lyric, you know, and even if I liked something, I was kind of like, oh, I'm not touching that. I like doing my own thing and kind of expressing where I'm at, where, because I feel like I can be the best at what I do. So I feel like a lot of times live, people kind of, you know, you can see the connection. And I always connected with people that really connected with me, you know, whether it be, you know, a heavier rock band or, you know, or like a solo acoustic thing or a reggae artist or a jazz performer. Like there's just a connection that you feel. And so I really love the idea of getting lost in the music that we do. And that's why lyrically it matters. You know, the way we play matters. Melodically, I'm a melody fan. So I say this to a lot of people. And I think one reason why we're connecting with people in a different way too is because they're melodies that people can hold on to. And it's weird because I feel like sometimes that's sacrificed for like cool, you know, sonic landscape kind of things in terms of the pop world. And, you know, I find that you can find great lyrics and great melodies in any type of music. So whether it's like ultra heavy stuff, you know, to things that are really pop, if I like the melody and I relate to it, and I think that the singer or the band is really honest, this is a sincere thing, I'll connect, you know, and it kind of, it makes it more palatable for me, and it also makes it real for me. I can also tell when someone's kind of phoning it in. There are a lot of people that, as you know, there are a lot of people that have great instruments and are great players, but there's this kind of disconnect. And I won't name names, but I'm surrounded by it a lot. I kind of, you know, like I'm a big fan of like imperfect voices.
Yes.
But ones that kind of like where it feels like there's something there, you know, I don't
it's
have
relatable. You know, I think there's perfection in the imperfection, but this is what I love about you in 4 Trips Ahead, that you all as individuals, but as a collective, are unapologetically authentic, that no one can put 4 Trips Ahead in a box. We were talking off camera about this whole notion of, you know, artists sometimes being forced to put themselves in a box that may be easily digestible to the music world or the world at large. But I love the fact that, you know, and you were speaking about it off camera, that in different parts of the world where you have fans all over the world, you may be more of, you know, hard rock, you may be more of heavy metal, but I just love, again, let others decide that, but that you all are just remaining authentic. And to all the young artists out there, to just please listen to what you are saying today and listen to the music and also the art, dare I say art, that you all put out there.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate that. We don't go in with, there's definitely a four trips ahead sound, because when the four of us play or write together, there's just a thing. And it took some time to cultivate, but for sure, I think that we're unafraid to kind of try things. We've been more and more, I think we get more dramatic as we go along, because I think that because you're living in very dramatic times. And I think two, because I think that we don't mind taking chances and being a little, taking chances and being a little brave in some of the arrangements and just playing. And I love that in the band, there are no preconceived notions, where there's no one that's saying, I've been in situations where people say, oh, that's cool, but it's too this, or that's kind of neat, but it's too this, and we have to sound like that. And those conversations never happen with us. I think that we just kind of see what works and what we believe in and what is true to the song. We pay attention to. And what I love is that everyone throws in their hat. There's so many different influences. And I think that we're not afraid to take them all on. But, we tend to kind of, we tend to be like heavier music. Like we like a little bit of a backbeat, but there's a swing. I always say, if you can't like kind of shake your butt to it, I don't care if it's heavy rock or whatever it is, or if it's pop music, or if it's R&B or whatever, there has to be some sort of sensuality to it. And it has to be something that moves people. And I think that that's where we kind of stand out a lot amongst our hard rock, peers, kind of. So
I love it, Peter. Well, listen, once again, I want to let our audience know, for more on the incredible Peter Wilson and Four Trips Ahead, you can read more about all of them right below this video. Peter, God bless you, and thank you so much for your time today.
thank you so much for connecting with us. We appreciate it.